You've probably heard about all of the changes shaking up the real estate industry in 2024 and 2025. There's been new rules, new disclosures, and now more paperwork. One of the most important forms you'll sign as the buyer is the Residential Tenant Buyer Representation Agreement. It's not just a form, it is the document that gives your realtor the legal right to fight for you. Without it, no agent can even open a door for a showing anymore. And yes, you heard me right. But watch this video to the end and you'll see why this is critical and how it benefits you. I'm going to break it all down. What exactly the buyer representation agreement is, why it's more important now than ever, especially after the National Association of Realtors lawsuit and settlement, what key sections you need to understand before signing the agreement, and how it protects you when you're buying a home. If we haven't met yet, I'm Crystal Overton, your Austin Metro Realtor, helping first-time buyers and sellers in the Austin Metro area buy with clarity and confidence. And my channel is called Real Estate Made Simple because that's exactly what I do. I break down the process, the contracts, the rules, all the changes so that you don't get blindsided during your purchase. And be sure to save this video so you can come back to it when you're reviewing your agreement. And make sure you subscribe because next week I'll be covering how to protect your money during the option period and your earnest money deposit. So, what is a buyer representation agreement? Let's get into it and let's talk about what this document really is and how most people feel like it's intimidating, but once you understand it and how it protects you, it won't be. It's essentially a written contract between you, the buyer, and your realtor that clearly outlines what your agent will do for you, how they're going to be compensated, what obligations both sides have. And in the past, for many agents, it wasn't a part of their normal practice to have one of these in place, but I've always used it because without it, buyers could view homes without a written agreement, and agents might operate under what used to be called sub-agency. And that meant that the agent technically represented the seller, not you as the buyer, leaving you as the buyer without full protection or advocacy. Now that's changing and it's no longer allowed because as the National Association of Realtors settlement that was effective August 17, 2024, made realtors now required to have a buyer representation agreement before showing any homes. This written agreement, again, ensures everyone understands who represents who. So your agent is legally bound to act in your best interest. How compensation works, and it must clearly state how your agent will be paid. Is it a flat fee, an hourly rate, or percentage based on their business model? And provides transparency so that you know exactly what you're agreeing to before seeing properties. The purpose is simple: to give buyers like you clarity, protection, and confidence. When you sign this agreement, you're officially hiring your agent, not just to unlock the doors, but to advocate for you, negotiate for you, protect your interests through the entire process. And some may still say, why does this even matter so much? Because this form makes it official that your agent represents you. It creates what we call a fiduciary relationship, meaning your agent must always put your best interest first above anyone else, including their own or the seller. And without it, they can't legally negotiate or give you strategic advice or share certain details that could impact your purchase. But with it, they can go to bat for you. And whether that's getting closing costs covered, pushing back on the sellers for repairs, or helping you to write that winning offer. Now, there are a few sections of the buyer representation agreement that every buyer should fully understand before signing. One, the term, which is the length of the agreement. It states how long your representation lasts. You and your agent can customize this to match your timeline, but make sure that you really understand the start and the end date. If the end date is approaching, your agent will seek to amend it and extend the date if you haven't found a home, but it must be a valid agreement in the process of your purchase. Broker compensation, this explains how your agent gets paid, and often the seller still offers compensation, but this must be agreed upon in writing. If the seller doesn't, then you and your agent should discuss how any difference would be handled. And there are options, but it's all about transparency. Third is the intermediary status. This is when the same brokerage represents both you, the buyer, and the seller, and your agent must disclose and get your written consent if this ever happens. Fourth is the termination clause, and this is to know how to end the agreement if it's not working out. You should never feel trapped with an agent who isn't meeting your needs. Your realtor should walk you through each of these sections, make sure that you know exactly what you're signing so there's no surprises. So as you can see, the National Association of Realtors settlement didn't just change paperwork, it really shifted the entire structure of how buyers and agents work together. Now that compensation is fully negotiable, which it always has been, and written agreements are now mandatory, buyers finally get full transparency. You'll know upfront what services you're getting, what your agent is being paid, and what you can expect throughout the process. So in short, this agreement creates accountability on both sides. Your agent must deliver, and now you know exactly what that looks like. Now, let's clear up a few myths. I hear these all the time. Does signing this mean that I owe you money? And the answer is not necessarily. In most cases, your agent is still compensated by the seller, the builder, or through negotiated credits, which will be known prior to submitting an offer to purchase any home, or it's negotiated within your offer. What if I'm not sure yet? Maybe you just met the realtor and you don't know how they work or if they will be a good fit for you. You can start with a short-term agreement while you get comfortable. Tailor it to the day of showings, a specific address, do a 30-day trial or whatever you see fit. If it works out, then the agreement can be amended and extended. What if it's not working and you want to switch agents in the middle of the agreement? Before signing any agreement, you should have an understanding of the termination clause. It's okay to ask about this before signing. If the relationship's not working out, maybe from either side, you should be able to part ways. And how this is handled is different among agents, so there is no clear answer to this except have the conversation. The bottom line is this agreement doesn't trap you. It really empowers you as a buyer. And if you're serious about buying a home in the Austin metro area and you want to understand more about this document before you ever walk into a showing, save this video and if you'd like a one-on-one or a walkthrough of the buyer representation agreement, I'll be happy to explain every line in plain English. Also, be sure to click the link in the description, schedule your free buyer strategy session, that's a one-on-one with you, and make sure you grab my first-time home buyer guide to get started. If you've stayed with me this far, I know you mean business. So don't forget to subscribe because next week I'm going to be talking about earnest money and the option period and how to make sure your deposit is protected no matter what. See you next week.